So the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line coach gave insight on the 2023 NFL season when it comes to his starting roster that is currently projected. Now, his currently projected roster is exactly what it was last season, right? It's going to be Jonah Williams at left tackle, same left guard, same center, Alex Kappa, and La'el Collins whenever he comes back from injuries. Right now, that is the projected roster. That's if they don't add anyone in free agency, they don't add anyone in the draft, and they simply just do that. Now, based on what the offensive line coach let on, he said pretty much he is very content with everyone except for Collins. Speaking with reporters of the Combine, Pollock inferred the team is really happy with every spot beside right tackle. And that's only due to injury, uncertain surroundings, Collins. So, I will say that yes, while he did say this and infer this, he's going to have to. I mean, let's be honest. He can't go out there and say, you know what? Well, I'm really upset with how the offensive line is looking. This is freaking garbage, okay? This is the worst thing I've seen since sliced bread, and I actually like sliced bread. Like, he can't say that, right? He can't go out there and roast every single player he has. Now, at the same time, he could kind of infer to this aspect, say, hey, listen, we're going to, continue to work and progress and get better. That's another thing a lot of coaches say when they don't like certain players, or they just simply don't. They want to be nice, but they also want to say, listen, this is not our guy, right? Now, going a little bit into what Mike says here, he says comfortable with all those guys, comfortable with the Lions coach or LC when he's healthy. Oh, LC is Collins. When he's healthy at right tackle, very comfortable with all those guys, Pollock said. According to the media, CLNS Media Mike. They improved over the course of the year. They're really good experience understanding what these guys can do and cannot do. Pollock and other made it clear that Jonah Williams won't move from the left tackle position like Collins. He's currently rehabbing an injury. Ted Cross and Alex Kappa obviously moving off center and right guard respectively. If the Bengals had made it, Kappa would most likely have played it in the Super Bowl, which is another thing that was huge. Was Kappa would come and go in the Super Bowl. He would be the right guard, and then you would have, a mixed match of everyone else out there. Now, here's what I'm talking about, and here's what the article says, and I think it perfectly says this. With some might take, what else was he supposed to say? Reaction to Pollock comments, the fact is that the Bengals starting five played the most snaps together of any starting five in the majority of the season before the injury bug drastically struck. That showed in the big improvement, so it's no shock coaches are comfortable with a starting five roster. Just not necessary with the depth that had to replace them late. And again, that is correct. Max replacing Kappa wasn't the greatest of all time, let's be honest. And neither was the right tackle replacement for Collins, and neither was Carman replacing Jonah Williams. But at the end of the day, again, like I said here, there's not much an offensive line coach can say other than, you know what, I am going to take whatever roster, whatever starting five you give me, and I'm going to go out there and play the best football I can play. Now, I will be honest, if Collins didn't have the injury bug, he's not the best option out there, but I wouldn't be having much problem with them sticking with Collins if he wasn't injured. If he could stay healthy and play fully, no issue at all, then you could even make the argument that Collins wouldn't have been that bad to end the season off and even in the playoffs. Kappa, I think, is fine. I think once he comes back from injury, he will be absolutely God tier again, and I don't think there's any problem with him. I do really like him on Cincinnati here. And then again, Jonah Williams, he's going into his fifth year of his contract, currently making $12.6 million. If you do trade him, you save the $12.6. If you don't trade him, you can't cut him because you would have to pay him the full $12.6 million. I'm not going to do that. So you might just, in the end, just ride out his contract this next season, right? And just kind of cruise on from there, which I don't really think is a bad idea, depending on, what you end up doing in the draft. And this is why, I've talked about to many Bengals fans on this channel about what the Bengals are going to do in the draft, right? And I've seen some Bengals fans say, I want 5 Bengals offensive linemen's draft. I mean, I've seen people say go tackle, tackle, guard, tackle, guard. Like all 5 of the 7 picks, offensive linemen. And obviously that's not realistic, let's be honest. The Bengals would not go 5 out of 7 picks offensive linemen. And whether or not they go first round, I think this is how I kind of look at the draft, right? Because I think everyone has their perspective of what the Bengals should do. I think that the first round would depend who's on the board. And I think that really is, nobody knows right now where the Bengals go in the first round. I made 50 mock drafts. I've talked about probably 10, 15 other mock drafts on this channel in the last couple of months. But at the end of the day, no one knows where Cincy's going, because Cincy, right now, I promise you this, nobody on the coaching staff knows where Cincinnati's going with that first pick. They don't. Because at this moment in time, I do not believe they trade up. But I believe at this moment in time, if they stick it and pick it, whoever is the best player available, let's say, for example, Michael Maris on the board, maybe Broderick Jones still on the board. Highly doubt it. He's actually like top 10 pick at this point. But, depending on who's on the board, will depend on who they go with. If Michael Mayer is off the board, let's say hypothetically speaking, and someone like, Nolan Smith is off the board, Brian Branch is off the board, Bijan Robinson's off the board, all these players off the board, and in a perfect hypothetical world, yes, I think they go with offensive tackle. I truly do believe that, right? But let's say all those guys just listed on the board. Nolan Smith, Bijan Robinson, Brian Branch, Michael Mayer. I don't think, realistically speaking, they go with that. But that's the beauty of the NFL draft. You never know what's going to happen in the NFL draft. So any player on the board, they're going to, this is completely change of what, they might do on draft night. They might sit there on draft night and say, okay, you know what? We think we're going tackle here. We like Antoine Harrison. We like, Dwayne Jones. We like these guys. We have these guys in our head. Some crazy thing happens. Broderick Jones drops. Okay. Crazy thing happened. Peter Skoronski drops. Ooh, okay, this is kind of interesting. Michael Mayer is there. Ooh. So nobody knows where Bengals are going. Now, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round, I think that's where, in my opinion, if they do not address tackle in the 1st round, I think they address it in the 2nd through 5th round, 100%. I think they will. And this is not saying that they're going after the guy, whoever they draft, is going to be a starter. That's another thing I kind of get in perspective of. A lot of people think if they draft a guy, obviously draft a guy in the 1st round, he's going to be a starter, right? You're drafting a franchise tackle in the 1st round to be a franchise tackle. But when it comes to the other rounds, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds, there's going to be competition battles for Jonah Williams and Collins. If they don't address this in free agency, this is key. If they don't address it in free agency, there's going to be positional battles for those two guys, right? So, at the end of the day, going to next season, let's say, they do draft a left tackle in the 3rd round, right? He might not be the starter. He might be a backup piece, which is fine, especially for depth purposes for Jonah Williams and for, Collins, if they do stick with Collins. This is hypothetical if they stick with those two guys. It's always good to have depth pieces, right? But I think, honestly, 2nd, the 5th round, offensive tackle, if they don't address in the 1st round, cornerback, probably safety or linebacker, depending on what they do with Jermaine Pratt. That's kind of where I'm thinking they're going to be, right? That's kind of the ballpark range. And again, like I said, any of these guys, it's all about depth. At the end of the day, why did the Eagles win the Super Bowl in 2017 or 2018 when they beat the Patriots? They won because even though they lost Carson Wentz and they had a backup quarterback, they had depth. They had so good depth on that team that their 3rd D tackle could be a starting D tackle. That's what you need. A lot of people want to say, well, you need these stars, and we need the best players possible. We need these, absolutely Jamar Chases. No, you don't. You really don't. You do not need a Ja'Marr Chase at every single position. What you need is a couple playmakers, a couple star playmakers. You got Ja'Marr Chase, check. You got Joe Burrow, check. You got Cheeto, check. Cam Taylor-Britt, Mike Hilton, check. Logan Wilson, Hendrickson, Hubbard, DJ Reader, Jermaine Pratt, check all the boards, right? Now what you need is depth behind those positions. Rotational guys. If players go down with injury, just backups. Really solid backups. I'm not talking about your McDonald's discount menu backups where they find them in the trash can out back of a McDonald's. Okay, I'm talking about actual true backups. Guys that if someone goes down, you can rely on them to become stars. Maybe not stars, but they can get the job done and be reliable. We had this last season, the Bengals would be in a Super Bowl. I know the refs absolutely fluffed you guys over. But at the end of the day, in the championship, it was also the offensive line. And if you had backup offensive linemen that could get the job done, wouldn't be that much of a problem, right? So depth is something I think a lot of people are focused this offseason, and I am too. I'll admit this has been on me too, right? Where it's like everyone's focused so much on depth. On get the replacement. Replace. We also got to worry about depth. Depth on a lot of positions. Tackles, guards, center, tight ends, safeties, depths. It's not always stars. It's solid, good players. Alright, that's my rant for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.